I realized who the troll was. His name is Dave.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Piss-drunk fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. Oh, I just can't understand it. Fucker defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, Sherlock! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, Sherlock! Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. White Beater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She rolls in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you in my cash, ready to gag. Oh, I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public benefit. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, Sherlock! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, Sherlock! Read into the lyrics. So let the parties will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do this show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the website, and you make your own decisions from there. Obviously, people watching live on Twitch, you are aware of how monetization works here. I'm producer Dave, and you can find me at Plex-Dave on Blue Sky, as well as on the application, the cell phone application, Grinder. And here's what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch. If you don't stop throwing your rocks, snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong, thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fearless judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
Well, every once in a while you find something a little bit weird and you have to put it first. So this is Waters for Men. He I guess this is an AI video that somebody made making fun of Jesse Waters. Apparently it's about ultra-masculine water.
Being a man isn't easy these days. People are eating soup in public, drinking milkshakes with straws, like little girls at a Kamala rally. The left will tell you that masculinity is toxic, that waving with two hands is expressive, that it's okay to wish another man happy birthday. It's so not. That's why I created Waters for Men, the first lifestyle energy water engineered to make you less feminine. No soup, no straws, no empathy. I mean, I built my career carrying Bill O'Reilly's water, so this makes sense. From ambushing people in parking lots.
Oh, that old clip there when he fucking went to Chinatown in San Francisco, and like it was just old, but he basically went around saying fucking ching chong ding dong and shit to everybody there and wondered why the people didn't like him. It was a crazy clip.
Taking his slot when he got me too'd. I rose to the top of the only industry where blow drying counts as bravery. So if you are like me and don't cross your legs, shop for groceries with your second wife, or gasp, discuss your feelings. You are going to just love putting my Waters for Men in your mouth.
What the fuck?
If I could, I'd have my own Waters for Men in my mouth all day long. Waters for Men will even help you rebrand your family. Go from the mother of your kids to the woman who prepares your monologues. Waters for Men isn't just a product, it's a lifestyle, a post-ironic, medically questionable way to reclaim your testosterone, while wearing more foundation than a Broadway chorus boy. Made from what was left of Roger Ailes' summer house swimming pool.
Oh.
Waters for Men is the water real tough guys choose when rooting for ICE to beat up women and children. So get your Waters for Men today, because if I can still pass for a man, so can you.
Side effects may include delusions of grandeur, overuse of hairspray, petty culture war engagement, deep fear of emotional intimacy, and sudden producer marriages. Not approved by your conscience.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
And I guess before we get to the fucking regular part of the news or whatever, this happened on the 5. I'm not even gonna try to explain what I'm about to show you. I didn't catch this. Somebody in the Discord found this and put it there. And well, watch this.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Oh my God. Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye there. God. What does it tell you, though?
Oh my fucking God. Oh, I got fucking nothing. I can't believe, what? Nothing. So, Silicon Valley House Representative member Ro Khanna, put an amendment in a House bill to have some or all of the Epstein documents released. And here's what happened.
Hearing none, the question's on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed
Chair, I'm
to.
kind of shocked by that. I will ask for a roll call.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Yes. Mr. Norman, aye. Mr. Roy? Mrs. Houchin? No. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack?
No.
Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Yes. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Yes. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure-Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Leisure-Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
5 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. And I think most of us believe what's appropriate will be released when it is time for the president to release.
Oh, no. Oh, this is all falling apart. Uh-oh. Here is from a clip from MSNBC about what you just watched here. Obviously, this is MSNBC, so whatever, they're probably not going to do a great job here. All things, being as they are.
Breaking news, the Republican-controlled House Rules Committee has just voted to block the release of the Epstein files. Joining us now, the member of Congress who forced that vote, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Congressman, kind of give us the latest situation with the House Rules Committee.
Well, it's very disappointing. I had a very simple amendment that the full Epstein files should be released. It went for a vote to the House Rules Committee. Jim McGovern, who is the ranking member for House Democrats, made sure that all 4 Democrats voted for the release. Ralph Norman, a Republican, actually joined with the Democrats, saying that there should be a vote on the full release. Chip Roy didn't show up for the vote, but 7 other Republicans blocked it. So as of now, there is going to be no vote tomorrow, up or down vote on whether the Epstein files should be released.
And this was the first stage of your attempt to get a full vote by the House of Representatives, to see a full recorded vote. Everyone could see how their member of Congress voted on this issue. And that's what was blocked by the Rules Committee, not allowing you to get to that stage on the floor. Why would it be important to have that recorded vote on the floor?
Well, in a very simple way, we should see whose side are you on. That's really what this Epstein file issue has become. It's not just about knowing who's being protected, the rich and the powerful, in terms of who had interaction with Jeffrey Epstein. It's the sense that people have that the government is too beholden to certain interests who have their thumb on the scale, and that they're not working for ordinary people. And what the Democrats are saying is we want to make sure that we get full justice here, that we get full transparency. And this may have been the first attempt that was blocked, but I'll tell you it's not going to be the last attempt. We already have Representative Vesey, who has a resolution. Leader Jeffries is saying that we're going to push for transparency here. And we can keep introducing these kind of amendments every week, every month, to force the Republicans to demand the release. And this is something that many Republicans believe should happen, as was evidenced by Ralph Norman's vote.
So him being the Silicon Valley representative saying that people are a little concerned about like moneyed interests controlling the government is a little bit rich, but fuck it. This should be all the Democrats do until the fucking midterms. I mean, assuming we all believe in the midterms at this point. Because if it goes to the floor, it's going to be interesting. I think it would squeak by on a yes on the floor, because I think that there's enough enough Republicans who know that their constituents would certainly want this released, that they would sort of feel forced to do it. Like, whether they want to or not as a whole is not the matter. I think that they would be forced to vote yes. And so I think this is good retail politics by Ro Khanna, which is crazy that I'm saying that about a Democrat, if we're being completely honest here. So up next, folks, they've even lost little incel Nikki Fuentes on all this.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist who served as a vehicle for this rather than the other way around. We were not the vehicle for Trump. Trump was the vehicle for all of us. And now he said,
Yo, I want fucking so bad for Trump to go to war with little fucking incel Nikki Fuentes. If that happens this week, this will be the best week ever. But it's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. As much as I would love for this to happen, it's not going to happen, I don't think. But the posting war between Trump and Nikki Fuentes would just be like, it would be the best. It would be so fucking funny. Oh, speaking of former Trump supporters who aren't too happy about this, here's one Mr. Alex Emmerich Jones.
And I'm getting really concerned here at this point, because the flip-flopping and the 180ing and the going back is just the biggest train wreck I've ever seen, and it's not in character for you to be acting like this. So we want your agenda.
Well, it's not in character for Donald Trump to be full of shit and fucking change the way in which he's full of shit every 15 minutes. All right, dude. Sure, dude, whatever.
Succeed. I've done deep research, never saw you involved with Epstein and criminal activity. So why are you acting like this? You made a deal with the establishment to leave you alone. Have they rolled over? U.S. intelligence we know is involved. Mossad, CIA, MI6, we already know that. But instead, you just continue to say nothing to see here, move along, though go ahead and release the information, but there's no information to release. Contradiction for contradiction, flip-flopping to flip-flopping. 180s on 180s on 180s. Jesus, I'm on a roller coaster here. And then, it's only fake news is concerned. Oh, like MTG and Tucker Carlson and myself and Joe Rogan and the American people. This is something that finally got our attention. People finally woke up to this. People finally understand, a window in the deep state.
Yeah, but what we learned is that you're a dumb fuck. That all of you are dumb. We already thought that, but what we learned is that y'all are dumb fucks. We're not like all of a sudden on your side, Alex. We're laughing at you, not outraged on your behalf.
And so you signing on to this and flip-flopping is just self-harming. I mean, please, President Trump, stop. If you want it to go away, just be quiet.
Oh no, now he's like, shut up about it. He's definitely, instead of release the documents, he's like, shut up about it.
It's like there's a gun to his head saying, you better come out and say none of this exists or we'll release it.
I hope that's the case. I mean, I'm with the fucking New World Order. If they got the files and they're like, hey, dude, you better keep saying that there ain't nothing in it or we're going to leak this shit. I don't think that's happening, but that'd be pretty dope. It'd be pretty dope if like Nancy Pelosi is behind the scenes like, hey, man, I'm going to leak this. You better fucking freak out about this like no one has ever seen.
And I support you, but we built the movement you wrote in on. You're not the movement. You just surfed in on it. And I'm telling you, man, the Democrats we know are pure evil. My God, they promote pedophilia and everything openly. So why the hell are you acting like this? Please stop now.
He's like, it's really hard for us to keep like saying that the pedophiles are all in the Democratic Party and that the Epstein files will show it when you're not willing to release the Epstein files. Man, I've been having a lot of fun. I've been asking people like, why is Daddy Trump protecting Bill Gates, man? People have been losing their fucking shit. People have been getting hell mad at me. It's been so fun. Here, somebody who's certainly not in any of those files and is probably one of the happiest people in the world that this stuff isn't being released is one Mr. Alan Dershowitz. Although there's some chance, I don't know for sure, but there's some chance that Dersh is only in there as his attorney. And, you know, as we always say, or I always say this, that no matter what you're accused of, you do have the right to an attorney, even if it's Alan Dershowitz. And, but here's who he thinks is holding back information.
Hiding a client list or anything that the Trump administration could.
Oh, Dersh is going to say something that I've been saying too, which is crazy. He's going to say, hey, man, it's not like he just kept a list somewhere. Because, like, of course he didn't.
No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them. From accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex, and
not just improper sex is an interesting way to describe this.
That has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did only investigations, I know who all these people are.
Jeffrey Epstein dead. You could do the funniest fucking thing in the whole world right now.
I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And
no, you would, if from all the investigation and some of the discovery and stuff from the trials, both civil and criminal, you would be able to compile a partial list if you had that information.
Could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan, and they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But
whoa, this is the fuck off. You can release people are like, oh, you want them to release all the fucking tapes? And I'm like, well, no, that would be, we don't release tapes of anybody being sexually assaulted when information is made public, much less minors. But you can redact the victims' names and release everything else.
Issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it. And so I think it's...
Well, that's fucking convenient. Yeah, we don't know what we don't know because we don't know it. That's correct.
Place the blame where the blame deserves to be placed. The vast majority of people who are in the files, and I know them all. I've seen all the names. The vast majority.
No, you haven't. No, wait. I don't think he's seen all of the invested. No, there's zero chance that he's seen everything.
Been disclosed. They're in articles all over the world. They're in books that have been written. So if we got everything, you would be shocked how few names are there that haven't already been disclosed. The media hasn't, by the way, done a good enough job in finding the people who have been disclosed in the public record. So that's that list.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, he could do the funniest fucking thing in the world, but he's not gonna. Up next, Charlie Kirk is done talking about Epstein because he's just gonna trust the plan or whatever.
Plenty was said this last weekend at our event about Epstein. Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done.
Trust the government, Charlie Kirk.
Solve it. Ball's in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine. We have escalatory action potentially being taken in Ukraine and Russia. We have tons of announcements happening when it comes to NATO. But let me just say this again. Everyone knows my opinion about the Epstein thing, the messaging fumble. I would love to see the DOJ move to unseal the grand jury testimony. I think that would be a big win. I would love to.
Oh, but this was, he already knew that people are like, oh, they're fucking going to release it all. It's the grand jury testimony. I'm like, that's just testimony from one grand jury. And the grand jury, the prosecution and the defense don't show their whole hand at the grand jury. They're just, the grand jury is there enough information here to move forward? So, and it's it's before the full discovery happens.
And I'm going to trust my friends, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, my friend Pam Bondi, all these guys. I'm going to, Todd Blanche, I'm going to trust them to solve it. Ball's in their court. I think that there was plenty of, let's say, speeches that were directed towards this topic this last weekend. So we don't need to spend our valuable time on this program relitigating it.
Oopsie. This guy was fucking one of the many who was just constantly saying, just absolutely constantly saying that this stuff needs to come out because the fight would expose the deep state and all that fucking shit. He was just constantly saying that. I mean, not like every show, but he was saying the shit out of that. And then they didn't come out. Don't worry though. Lance Wallnau knows what's going on. There's actually some of the shit is inspired by fucking demons, and that's why it's not coming out. You heard it here, I guess, second.
Dealing with the highest levels of demonic temptation, power, money, and imagine what kind of pathological mental state you're in to be in the top of those leagues. So I heard one guy say that if you're really at the highest level of those organizations, you put your own mother in a wood chipper if they got in the way. And so, I mean, they were saying that cynically, but these are FBI guys saying there's a certain state of mind in these people. And I believe it. And so the Warren Commission will truth be ever known? Falsified documents, false trails, they just blew the brains out of a president in broad daylight. That's these people. And I think they would be willing to plant information, evidence, and create false trails. And all kinds of
now it's all fake.
This is what they do. They're like almost like demonically inspired.
Almost, not all the way, just almost demonically inspired, dude. Just fucking say anything. Fuck it. Don't even. I mean, this is Lance Wallnau, so of course that's what he's going to say. Actually, this isn't even not on brand for this freak.
And Trump says, "Don't put me into the Butler box again." And that's, I think, what he's trying to say. That's my take on it. So I don't think he's hiding. I think he's trying to avoid something.
He's not hiding the documents. He's just trying to avoid something. Like, dude, you can't even, come on, man. You fucking suck at that. What do you mean? He's not trying to hide the documents. He's just trying to avoid something. Yeah, that's what we think. Yes, we think that he's trying to avoid something. And my talking point lately, actually, because it's a lot of fun, I'm telling everybody that he's covering up for Bill Gates. And maybe start telling people that he's covering up for his pal Bill Clinton too. Because we're never, ever going to not be making fun of the chuds for this. like forever. We can make fun of the chuds for this forever. I want to go find old fucking QAnon shit by all these people. Oh, hey friends, guess what? Guess who's real glad this stuff isn't coming out? Not because he's in the documents necessarily, just because, you know, just the whole thing that's going on here. It's one Mr. Matthew Gates.
President Trump never stopped building a business empire, a media empire, a political empire. We believe he has exactly the team to maximize success. Let's start with Pam Bondi. The Attorney General always takes a lot of flack in any administration, but look at what she has accomplished. The Bondi team successfully litigated away the judicial coup of nationwide injunctions. They did that. They won that for us. They have created the legal infrastructure for highly effective deportations. She's got the cartels self-deporting. She has targeted the criminals and the gang networks. Attorney General Pam Bondi is a star and has our full admiration.
So if you're a member of the cartel, you're probably not spending a lot of time in the U.S. if you're like a high ranking, because it would be dumb.
To those who don't share my enthusiasm, look at how far we've come.
Well, not the cartel. There are many cartels.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions is the reason Hillary Clinton got away with everything. The statute of limitations is passed to hold her accountable. Thanks, Jeff.
For what?
He got the unceremonious beating he deserved on the way out the door from Senator Tommy Tuberville. After Sessions, we got Bill Barr. AG Barr is the reason legitimate questions about the 2020 election went uninvestigated by the Department of Justice. I personally know of cases Bill Barr shut down that
he was one of the rats that jumped off the ship. Yeah.
Voter fraud that could have told us a lot more about the networks and the people who are trying to destabilize our elections and our voting process. You don't think you're getting all the answers?
Oh, you're flying a little close to the. You're flying a little close to the mine network got sued and lost. Son, here, a friend. You're flying a little close to the sun.
We never got the answers on an election that resulted in a dementia ward escapee being president for 4 years. After Bill Barr was Jeff Rosen. He was the acting attorney general. He allowed MAGA grandmothers to be hunted like Pam Bondi is hunting MS-13. Pam Bondi is the best attorney general Donald Trump has had by a factor of 10,000. And anyone who disagrees with me is welcome to come on this show and choose their fighter. Which Trump AG would you replace Pam Bondi with? Barr? Sessions? Rosen?
Rosen. Just because he didn't do anything.
And we appreciate her service. And at the FBI, some have suggested that they...
Why'd you pick that picture of Kash Patel? You're like, oh, this guy's not crazy. Here's a photo of him.
Keen on cash anymore. Look at where we've been at the FBI. It used to be a dumpster fire. During the prior Trump administration, we had James Comey. We had to deal with Christopher Wray, and now we get Kash Patel. Kash is rounding up actual criminals, not spying on political opponents. That is
they're spying on their political opponents.
That the FBI needed. I have every confidence that this administration will continue their outstanding work, and that any tension that erupts is a consequence of strong voices and deep love of country.
Oh, all right, dude. Oh man, you could have just shut the fuck up about this. But everybody fighting together as a team is what's important now. I know that it might seem like there are other things going on where, you know, maybe people should have released the documents they said they were gonna, but no, now we got to fight together as a team.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you do that?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. I haven't seen all of his statements today. Thank you.
How would you respond to the MAGA base that has expressed a lot of frustration about this?
We're going to fight to keep America safe again, and we're fighting together as a team. That's what's so important right now. You know, we've got a war on drugs. We've got a war on human trafficking. We've got...
Well, ma'am, maybe setting the example that even if you take your own life or not in prison, if you are the head of a sex trafficking ring, that you and everyone involved will be exposed by the Department of Justice would be a good step actually towards fighting sex trafficking.
cartels in this country, and we are going to do, we've got foreign adversaries around this world as well, and we're all going to work together as a team to fight to keep America safe again, and I can tell you that's what we're all committed to. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for, please.
We're fighting trafficking, but we're also just not going to release any information about the maybe most famous, probably not most prolific, but most famous sex trafficker of our time. We're not going to release any of that. We gotta fight sex trafficking, just not by spilling the beans on any of Trump's pals like Bill Gates. So here's Nancy Pelosi being real bad at retail politics, as she always is. She's just going to call all this a distraction.
You know well, too well, the power of conspiracy theories. Your husband was attacked by a man who'd fallen for them.
That's right.
Is it your sense there's anything the president can do now to get his supporters to move off of the Epstein issue? Should he? Where do you land on this?
You know, again, this is a distraction. This is a distraction. We have...
some of your pals are up in there, huh?
Major issues right here with things we're voting on today in the Congress, again, in terms of the rescission that the president and the Senate have sent back over us to.
I also don't like this stuff because it basically accuses everybody of being too fucking stupid to consider a few important news items during the course of any given day.
All of these resources out of helping poor people throughout the world to be America play its leadership role in soft power to keep us safe and to keep us healthy, so that viruses know no boundary. And instead, we're talking about him, about this thing, and at his own basis has its own views of what the president should do. I'll leave it up to them to talk it out. But again, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein or Alcatraz, it's all off the subject of what they're doing with this budget that is harmful to the kitchen table, meeting the kitchen table needs of the American people.
I want to make sure I understand what you mean when you say distraction. Do you think that Pam Bondi going to Alcatraz is meant potentially as a distraction from Epstein, which has not gone over well at all with the president?
No, she doesn't. No, that's not what why are you, what the fuck, dude? Come on, man. Listen, I clean up pretty good. I have a little bit of my own baggage and shit, but I clean up pretty good. And I could go on NBC and interview these people.
No, I think they're both distractions. I don't think she's going to Alcatraz. I think she's planned to do that. But I think that they're both off the subject of what is happening, changing the character and the culture of America by undermining, by placing huge trillions of dollars of national debt on for future generations to carry forward at the expense of the health, nutrition, education of the American people.
God, why do the Democrats suck so bad at this? What you do is you go, listen, this is important stuff. Powerful people were hurting young girls, and there were some of them were young women, some of them were 18, 19 years old. They were trafficking them to an island to abuse them, to rape them. This is bad, and we need as much information on this as possible, but I don't want people to take their eyes off of these other issues while we're talking about this. Like, come on, you've been doing this your whole fucking life, and you can't say that? You absolute fucking useless piece of shit. Fucking retire. Fucking retire. Now, on Epstein, someone who has not in any way, shape, or form been at all in any way a useless piece of shit is one Julie K. Brown. And she took an interview on CNN. Now, sometimes we have some problems with web players that aren't YouTube or whatever, and it looks like we may be having such a problem right fucking now. Looks like this isn't going to play in the Brave browser, which definitely sucks, because these are things that I'm supposed to check before the show. Let's see here. Come on, play. Anybody listening on the podcast, this is in fact live. So I didn't watch this interview, so I don't have anything to say about it. I'll just put a little I'll put a little down arrow next to it. And maybe just real quick, we'll go CNN Julie K. Brown on YouTube and see if we can't hunt it down. Here we go. I found it.
The president continues to face blowback from within his own base over the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Now, earlier this morning, he claimed it was a hoax created by his political opponent. In an interview tonight, he appeared to open the door to investigating the investigation. Joining me again is Miami Herald investigative reporter Julie K. Brown, whose work exposed the extent of Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring and led to prosecutors reopening the case. She's also the author of a remarkable book, Perversion of Justice, the Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh, I need to read that.
Julie, is someone, who knows this in depth, who's covered this, who's responsible for keeping this story in the public consciousness. What do you make of the president calling this now a hoax perpetrated by Democrats?
It doesn't make any sense at all. This case predated, the investigations into this even predated Trump's administration, his first administration. There were investigations by the DOJ for the past, probably off and on, they've looked at it for the past 20 years. So it doesn't really make any sense. Look, the reality of this is that sexual assault doesn't discriminate based on political parties. This should not be a political issue. This is a crime that was perpetrated against a lot of young girls and young women over decades. And to politicize it like this, and that includes firing prosecutors. By the way, he forced Comey's boss, Jeffrey Berman, who was the U.S. attorney in New York, who actually reopened the case and arrested Epstein back in 2019 after my story. He also forced him out of the Justice Department. So these kinds of things, the Justice Department was always looked upon as an agency, I think, that of course you always have political appointments, but for the most part, it was independent of the White House. And so these kinds of things
yeah, that's true. It's supposed to be, they're supposed to be appointed, but then completely independent of the administration. There's reason to believe that hasn't always been the case. I mean, think about when JFK appointed his brother to be the attorney general.
Right now are, I think, should be troubling to all Americans, especially with this particular case, which should not be politicized.
In terms of, there are many people who want more information about this and want information released. To your knowledge, is there information that could be released that wouldn't necessarily, or even kind of theoretically, should there be information that could be released that wouldn't reveal a witness who didn't want their name used or a victim who doesn't want their name out there?
Well, yeah, that's what the black boxes are for. You redact the names of witnesses, victims, and to the extent that people think it's valid, methods and sources sometimes are redacted.
I think there's always something that you can release. You can release information about steps that certain, agencies have taken in order to investigate this.
What would you like to see released?
Well, for one thing, I think they should release his autopsy report. Autopsy reports are routinely released.
Why haven't they done that?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It seems like there's so many questions surrounding it. And that's the key. When there's so many questions surrounding a case, you have to look at it a little bit differently. For example, the grand jury testimony in the original Epstein case, grand jury testimony in Florida is kept secret. But
this is the thing that they're like, oh, we're going to release this. That's what they're going to release. But it's from like the first trial, the one where you got the slap on the wrist. That it ain't shit. A lot of what's in there is probably already known, because the trial, a lot of the stuff from the trial is public, and a lot of the stuff from the grand jury was presented at trial.
Put on the fact that this is a case of intense public interest, and it serves the public interest at times to release some of this information. Now, you know, for the most part during the Biden administration, the criminal case was still under investigation. So therefore, they can always use that, and they often do, to say we can't release anything because it's still under investigation. But now
Biden could have done the funniest thing on his last day in office, right? Just fucking said, no, release it all. Fuck it.
Over. So you have to wonder why they can't release certain portions of it by redacting the names of perhaps victims or witnesses.
And there's support for that in Congress. I mean, Speaker Johnson said that today that all the credible information should be released. The president himself also indicated that Bondi should release all credible documents. But
then now it's like, who decides what's credible? Like, I don't like any of this. Like, redact the names of the victims. Obviously, if there's any fucking video, don't release that, because first of all, like, some of that shit is illegal for people to possess. But then secondly, like, you re-traumatize any of the adult victims. Like, you don't release that shit. But yeah, everything else, just let it all hang out and let the chips fall where they may.
That would seem to be kind of a no-brainer.
Yes, I think that's especially what the victims believe. I had a chance to talk to some of the victims' attorneys today to kind of gauge what their thoughts are, and they're terribly upset about this and disappointed in the Trump administration making all those promises. A number of them.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you about this video, because you've been critical of the prison security footage that the Justice Department released, which was from the day Epstein died. The DOJ said there was no evidence that he was murdered. Wired, looked into this and pointed out a number of things about this video. You say the footage doesn't tell the whole story.
No, because...
And the other thing is, I'm fucking not buying that that's the only camera angle that they have. Like, because I think there's like off to the right of, like, this basically this opening here off to the right, I think, is where his cell is supposed to be, up these stairs. But you're trying to tell me that there isn't a fucking camera like somewhere in this other room that we're looking down on? Get the fuck out of here.
Back to the report twice to make sure that I was speaking correctly about this. But all the cameras, except for one in that whole entire unit, was not recording that night and for months before that. In other words, you could see things happening in real time.
Oh, if it was for months before, I'll buy that the fucking system broke and they didn't fix it. I'll buy that, actually.
Kept. None of the footage was kept except for one. But the one camera was not in Epstein's wing. It was in another area, and it showed another couple of cells, and it looked down upon what they call the common area where the guards are. But that was not the area that Epstein was in. His cell was in another wing, and the report actually contains a diagram that shows you where Epstein's cell was and shows you where the camera was at the end of his hall. And it specifically says that camera was not recording.
So is this the video we're showing? The video we're showing, which was the video that was released of the two green doors, are those not? Is that not Epstein's cell?
No, they're not Epstein's cell.
Nope. One of these sets of stairs. I don't think it's the one on the left. I think it's the one you can barely see on the right. Goes up to where his cell was supposed to be.
But and the fact that people are talking about a minute is missing. They were doctored. If that in fact happened, then that must show that they were really trying, too hard to try to make something like this work, because this view that they show is not of Epstein's cell. Epstein's
what
cell
is it
was
of?
in a totally other wing.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at the common area sort of between those bars that they show, and they were trying to show, look, here's a figure of Epstein walking. So that showed that at that time, he was walking to his cell, but I couldn't make it out to be Epstein, and I don't think it proves anything, because they're not showing the catwalk. They're not showing the hallway where his cell was. I mean, I covered prisons in Florida, prison deaths, suspicious deaths, for a long time. And anybody can get into another cell. If you leave another inmate's cell unlocked, he could have gone next door. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it is kind of curious why they would put that video out there when it wasn't even of his cell.
And as you said, the autopsy might indicates something as well. Julie K. Brown, thank you so much again. Just extraordinary reporting. Thank you.
Yeah, Julie K. Brown is a fucking national treasure. And it's crazy that she did all this work, like at let's face it, great personal risk to herself, considering the powerful people involved, and the fucking Pizzagate people and the QAnon people, like, kind of basically took credit for exposing Jeff Epstein when that is certainly not true. Certainly not true. It was Julie K. Brown. She, as with many criminal conspiracies, right? It's never like the conspiracy theory YouTube channel that uncovers it. It's a local news reporter, sometimes the fucking Federal Bureau of Investigation, sometimes a sheriff's department. Like, it's always the people these folks say are covering everything up that actually expose these kinds of things. When was the last time a conspiracy theorist ever uncovered an actual conspiracy? It doesn't happen. Because their job isn't journalism, right? Their job is to sensationalize the work of other journalists. Here's another clip of Silver Fox talking about the Silver Fox Anderson Cooper talking about the fallout from all of this.
We begin tonight with the Jeffrey Epstein story, which tonight is making allies of sorts out of a far-right conspiracy peddler and the House's top Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, who's calling for a congressional probe into how administration officials, both in and out of office, dealt with it.
Option one, they lied for years. Option two, they're engaging in a cover-up. At this point, it seems reasonable that can only be one of the two things. And so it's Congress's responsibility in a bipartisan way to ask the questions and try to get answers on behalf of the American people.
As we said, in a sense, this crossed party lines today when we learned that Laura Loomer on the far right is now calling for a special counsel to investigate the handling of the Epstein case. Also today, and also from the right, simple frustration.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the I'm going to trust my friends in the administration.
Fucking Anderson Cooper trying to do the Plex.
I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands.
Well, that's Charlie Kirk, and that's a lot in and of itself. And as it was unfolding, the FBI's deputy director, Dan Bongino, was back at work after staying away on Friday out of his own frustration over the handling of the Epstein files. And
I got banned from Parler for saying that guy's head is a cube with nothing in it.
Apparently with Attorney General Pam Bondi. Sources told us that he'd confronted her about it earlier in the week. And that, in turn, became part of a cloud of seemingly radioactive fallout from the Justice Department's announcement a week ago, shutting down any further disclosures in the case of the convicted sex offender and accused child sex trafficker after months and in some cases years of hype from Trump world. It has certainly poisoned the air in the far-right ecosystem where many began calling for the Attorney General's head.
It's Bongino or Bondi. He's not
Who
saying...
would you guys prefer, Bongino or Bondi? Okay, 7,000 to 0.
They want Dan.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap.
We watched this last week.
Scenes from the Turning Point USA conference Friday and Saturday night. You saw Charlie Kirk on stage on Friday talking about the Epstein case. Now he says he's not going to talk about it any longer. CNN's Donny O'Sullivan was there as well, talking to some of those people. He joins us shortly.
Oh, no, fuck yeah, Donny Sullivan. Oh, this is going to be great. And these fucking people hate him. Because he goes up, seems like a nice enough guy, and then he asks you a really fucked up question. I love this guy.
Yesterday, even the president had gotten involved, talking to Bongino and trying to tamp down rumors that his deputy FBI director was as good as fired.
I did. I spoke to him today. Dan Bongino, very good guy. I've known him a long time.
It would have been fucking funny as shit if Dan Bongino would have just resigned and then went back to his fucking pilled ass radio show and started going after Donald Trump for this. Would have been amazing.
Many, many times. And he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
Well, that quiets any speculation is hard to gauge. What's clear, though, another such attempt just a day before did not. Here's the president on his social network, his tone all but pleading. He says, "What's going on with my boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration. The talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein." As you might imagine, that did not make people stop talking about the story any more than it did when he said this in front of reporters at last week's cabinet meeting, a day after the Justice Department's decision to put a lid on the case.
Are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
That was your best friend, man.
Unbelievable.
Well, the president on Tuesday wondering why people can't stop talking about the story that his supporters have been talking about and spreading conspiracy theories about for years. And it's not just his supporters, it's members of his actual administration. Here's some of what they've been saying lately, as well as before taking their current jobs. Here's the Attorney General teasing the so-called Epstein client list.
Oh, a thing about Pam Bondi, too, is she was the Florida Attorney General and didn't do goddamn fuck all about fucking Epstein while she was the AG of Florida, where all this shit went down, where Julie K. Brown was doing all this great reporting on it. That's interesting. At least I think that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe you don't think that's interesting, but I sure do.
On 2 occasions back in February.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is
whoopsie poopsie.
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
Well, what followed was derided as far less than promised, and more specifically did not include any client list, which now supposedly does not even exist.
Well, to the extent that he kept I've said this the whole time, the extent that he had just like a list in his pocket of like criminal people who I do my crimes with, well, yeah. The list would be something that like reporters or whatever would compile from the information in the investigation, and it would be an incomplete list.
Another thing was going on long before the president took office. Here's Dan Bongino, now the number 2 at the FBI. Last year,
number 2 is right.
Own talk show.
I think Jeffrey Epstein may have some videotape of people central to the Democrat and maybe Republican Party doing some things, let's just say, they shouldn't be doing. Why was the CIA director meeting with Jeffrey Epstein?
Which one? The CIA's like who? Ask him. I don't know. Call him, dude. Ask him. You were the Secret Service. You know this. Call him. Ask him. And you ask him about anybody. A person picks up the phone. CIA, this is Janet. Like, hi, Janet. How are you? She's like, Janet who?
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about it.
He is not wearing a fucking Public Enemy shirt. Oh my fucking God. Fuck this guy.
Check it out. I'm not letting it go ever.
Okay, well, now he's number 2 at the FBI. Here's Bongino's boss, FBI Director Kash Patel from 2023.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple.
We don't know that.
On that list. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
So who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is.
But that's not a list of people. Okay, so if you so first of all, people keep the even like by the time that all this, it was all in his phone. I want to know who was in his phone. Like who was he texting? What was he texting to them? How often was he calling? Like all this stuff needs to come out.
Under direct control of the director of the FBI.
The Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean,
he did not keep a little book that said crime people who I've done my crimes with.
That's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
So candidate Trump did not fully take that advice. He did, however, suggest that he was open to the idea.
It's just very...
Oh, this famous interview where he's like JFK and the moon landing or fucking MLK Jr. He's like, yeah, we're going to release that. He's like, the Epstein, ooh, not so much. Ooh, I don't know about that. Maybe not. Is this that interview? Because that was funny as fuck. When he's like, ooh, I don't know about that.
For a lot of people, that the list of clients that went.
Oh, fuck. You know who wasn't on that list is Lex. You know why? Because fucking nobody wants to hang out with Lex Fridman.
Island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be.
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
Well, you did the Epstein.
Certainly had no problem talking about it back when talking about it carried only political benefits, when there was no real world consequences, whether to Epstein's accusers or one of whom recently took her own.
You know who danced the fucking biggest jig in the world when that fucking stuff wasn't released is one Mr. Steven Pinker, I think. Steven Pinker is all up in that shit.
To anyone mentioned in the investigative files, Epstein's former friends and associates. And all that hype in the years since Epstein was found dead in his cell in 2019 has also created a credibility gap whenever the administration tries to tell the public there might actually be less to all this than their one-time followers were led to believe, such as about the circumstances of Epstein's death by suicide at the Metropolitan Correctional Center 6 years ago.
On the Epstein files, listen, I know this is a hot potato for folks. I totally understand. My comments were clear. I'm not paid for my opinions anymore. I work for the taxpayer now. I'm paid on evidence. That's it. The evidence we have in our files clearly indicates that it was, in fact, a suicide.
I never doubted that. It was funny. The memes were funny. I never doubted that. This dude, nobody in his life ever really told him no. And he was sitting in a prison cell, going to probably face the rest of his life in prison. Yeah, it is hard to believe that he didn't take his own life.
You have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire. However, the video does show in that specific block that he goes in, made a phone call. You'll see 12 hours of guards going to basically check on him, come back. You'll see no one really comes out in that bay, in that area, than him. There's no one in there. When you combine that with...
No, this is a detention center. There's plenty of people there. What are you talking about?
Evidence we will be releasing in the coming weeks. We're still finalizing some of the products. I think it's pretty clear. There's nothing there in the file at all that indicates anything other than, in fact, a suicide.
Well, the same may very well hold true for questions surrounding a minute-long gap in video coverage at midnight on the night Epstein died. Attorney General Bondi and others have said that the taping system, which is apparently old, resets at the same time every day. And there's nothing suspicious about it, according to her, which may be entirely true. But it's a harder case to make now.
Why not tell us what the fucking... There's people out there who know all about this surveillance stuff. Tell us the make and model and the make and model of the recorder and the switch boxes and stuff. Give us information about the system, because there are people out there who know everything about these security systems that would be like, yeah, actually that system, it does work that way. Or I've never heard that about that system.
So many suspicions before. Listen to Kash Patel last month trying to reassure Joe Rogan's viewers of his commitment to transparency.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
right?
And in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right?
Right.
Where they and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that...
Well, no, not on that video, you wouldn't.
Down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
Which might or might not be the case. And it's bizarre, by the way, to have the FBI director on podcasts talking about this stuff. But either way, some even then were not buying it, given that at that point, people had been waiting since February for more disclosures from the Justice Department. And it got even worse last Monday when the DOJ finally said that was it. There'd be no more, which has now fully landed the administration into this mess of its own making, left it squarely at odds with its own staunchest supporters, and further raised suspicions among friends and critics alike that it's hiding something. As for Dan Bongino himself, sources now tell us that his relationship with the White House has become basically untenable. Also, that even if he does not quit now, some inside the administration believe he will not stay in the job long term. You heard what President Trump said today, that he had talked to.
Yeah, if Dan Bongino gets fired, he's going to go nuclear on these people. The dude is fucking dumb, but he has an ego the size of fucking, I don't know, Alaska, right? That's the biggest U.S. state. But don't worry, everybody. It was actually all Obama, Comey, and Biden. This is all they're doing. I don't know how, but this is all they're doing. It's fine. Don't worry. My political opponents are just out to get me, as they usually are.
How many more states? The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI.
On what?
On what? Shut the fuck up.
On what subject?
Epstein. On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden,
Wait a minute. Wait, come on, man. Like he didn't talk about it that much, but all of his surrogates were talking about it nonstop.
We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
I fucking love this. I'm sorry. It's not going to end the administration because there's already a ton of people like bending themselves into pretzels, but this is taking years off this guy's life, which I think is a net positive. But don't worry, Trump's being transparent about Vladimir Putin having more or less played him.
But he's also a realist, and he knows when things are not going to change, perhaps, or where there needs to be a different sort of approach. We may be seeing that. I don't want to get ahead of him, but thanks to his famous transparency, he is on a number of occasions
famously transparent Donald Trump.
Dismay regarding Putin and the nature of what goes on, especially his outrage over the bombing of civilians and the attacks in the night on Ukraine. So I think that everything he says is big.
No, dude. No, he's not outraged at that. He's outraged that here's what I think. I think Vladimir Putin just was like, I'm not listening to a word that you say. Vladimir Putin's not a dummy, right? He's like, your supporters like me almost as much as they like you. Right? Like Vladimir Putin's a monster, but he's not stupid. And he can play somebody like Donald Trump.
Cast this as something very important that will be announced. We should take that seriously. And I think that it's going to have an impact exactly where the president wants it to.
I think it's.
Thank you. I don't know what you were doing on Stuart Varney's show talking about that. I thought that was Fox Business, but whatever. Here's more about how the Trump administration is super transparent on Russia. Now that the president is sad that his friend Vlad doesn't like him. But I don't think Vladimir Putin ever gave a fuck about Trump. Trump, to the extent that he was played by Vladimir Putin. And I think that maybe that's sort of overplayed, maybe in some like liberal circles. But to the extent that he was just a means to an end. Putin wasn't in it to win it with Donald Trump. He was just fucking. You could use a dumb fuck like Donald Trump.
I would say that referring back to President Trump's remarks probably gives us the most immediate sense of whether or not he views things as being positive or if he's happy with what Vladimir Putin has been doing. And of course, we've heard from him that he's not happy, is how I'll characterize it, that he's not impressed with the nature of how things have moved forward. And that's what we rely on. We hear, because he's a transparent man, the nature of his attitude about conversations and his assessment as the leader of the free world, of the entire world, effectively.
Excuse you?
That he's not happy. And I think his current actions of taking a path in order to provide Ukraine with more defensive weapons is an indication of that. But I've said before that while he is a diplomat and is forever optimistic about diplomacy, he's also a realist. And the world has seen as Iran has seen, and now with these new actions by the president, that Russia is seeing, that he's a patient man, but not at the expense of his vision and making that happen. All right, yes.
Tammy, following up on the American.
Yeah, dude, he wanted to like broker some kind of deal where Russia got some land and Trump took credit for it, I think. And Vladimir Putin just wasn't going to let him do that because Vladimir Putin, if that war ends, I don't know what's left for Vladimir Putin to even do. Because if that war ends, it looks like he lost no matter what the terms of the agreement are. And yeah, I think it's just Trump's mad, right? Trump got mad at the guy because the guy fucking played him because he's a spy. And listen, if you're like a dictator, or like a strong man somewhere, and you have like experience in intelligence gathering or whatever, why, it would be fairly easy for you to manipulate one Donald J. Trump. Ooh, I grabbed the wrong, man, we're having all kinds of fun here. All right. So don't worry, on the deals with, China and Vietnam, Donald Trump doesn't have to be, transparent, actually. No need to be transparent.
All right, do you plan to release more details of Vietnam, China deal? There's going to be a paperwork released to public.
Well, I might. I don't think it matters how much you release of the deal. We have a Vietnam deal, and I would say that deal is being pretty well set. It's pretty well set. Again, that's an opening of their country. They've opened it up. Just so you know, these were closed countries. They were wonderful people, wonderful leaders, very strong, smart leaders. But their countries were closed to us, but our country wasn't closed to them. And so I said, you got to open up your country. So we're going to see. But the Vietnam deal, we may open it. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you. Is it necessary? No. Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, the one he doesn't want to release if there's a deal with China is the one with China, because I think he had to ended up kind of having to bend the knee. I'm guessing, because otherwise people wouldn't have electronics. We got another one. With everything going on in the world, why would you ask a question like this? This shit is fucking amazing.
So on Tuesday, the president told a very detailed story about his uncle, noted scientist John Trump, and Theodore Kaczynski, the late Unabomber. He said that Dr. Trump taught Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was not identified as the Unabomber until 1996, 11 years after John Trump passed away. It would have been impossible for John Trump to have ever discussed the Unabomber with the president. So what was he talking about? And I have one.
Great question.
Andrew, with so many issues going on in the world, I'm a little bit surprised you would ask such a question.
Well, it goes to the credibility of the person that's supposed to be the leader of the free world or what the fuck ever. If he's making up stories about his uncle telling him about the Unabomber when nobody knew who the Unabomber was till 11 years after his uncle died, sort of goes to the credibility of the person more broadly. That's why the question is being asked.
Though I'm not sometimes coming from you, I will say, but I'm willing to give you an answer. Nevertheless, the president's uncle did, in fact, teach at MIT. He was a very intelligent professor.
Right. No, we know this. We're not, I mean, his uncle was probably a piece of shit, but we're not impugning the credibility of his uncle. We're impugning the credibility of the president.
The president's very proud of his family. In fact, the president has a letter from his uncle on the MIT letterhead that sits in the Oval Office dining room. Maybe we'll let you see it sometime.
Was it about the Unabomber? What a fucking lie. What a dumb thing to fucking lie about. It's not like hell of important or whatever, but it just goes to like, this guy's just going to make up fucking stories. Like, obviously, like if his uncle taught Ted Kaczynski at MIT, okay, whatever. That's an interesting piece of trivia. But if he died before the fucking Unabomber Unabombed people and got caught for it, well, then how could he have known that he taught the Unabomber? absolute dumb shit to lie about. Just making up fucking stories. Do you know the president shakes a lot of people's hands?
Additionally, recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen. This is a well-known and benign side effect of aspirin therapy. And the president remains in excellent health, which I think all of you witness on a daily basis here. So the president...
Nope. We learned that that's not the case. I didn't include any clips about that because the story's kind of new and it seemed like there was a lot of misinformation and speculation going around on it. Probably more on that next week because it never hurts to wait. Especially on this network when we don't even really do a bunch of regular news. It's not like, oh shit, I didn't get the scoop. Here's Dr. Oz talking about why you don't need Medicaid. It's a 60-year-old program, and when they designed it 60 years ago, they didn't expect blah, blah, blah. Here we go.
And under the president's guidance, we actually fixed the fraud, waste, and abuse, specifically work requirements, which is what they're talking about. When the program was created 60 years ago, it never dawned on anyone that you would take able-bodied individuals who could work and put them on Medicaid. Today, the average able-bodied person on Medicaid, it doesn't work, they watch 6.1 hours of television or just hang out. That's not fair. It's not okay. No, go out and try to get a job. They argue that we can't do it. They're arguing against the competency of the American people and their government. I would make the argument that if I offer you a deal, I'll give you free health insurance, but you got to get off your tail and go try to go to work, you'll take the deal. Most Americans have already done that, and they will continue to do that.
Dr. Oz,
but there's a lot of like people that are like I'm on Medicaid through the county, self-employed. So I don't know what he's talking about. This is crazy. Here is the FDA chief, it's Macari, talking about food dyes because that's what we're doing here, everybody. We're cutting your Medicaid. We're cutting your Medicaid, but we're also going to get rid of fucking certain food dyes, or more likely what they're going to do is instead of calling it like red dye number 30 or whatever, they're just going to use like the chemical compound name of it. And everybody's going to be like, oh shit, they got rid of red dye number 30. That's what I think is going to happen.
Today, I'm announcing that the FDA is approving Gardenia Blue as a natural food dye with natural ingredients.
Okay.
We believe in options, and we believe in incremental improvements in health. The sickness of American kids is not a willpower problem. It's not their fault. We can do things that'll make the food supply healthier one step at a time. This is a renaissance moment in health in America, and part of that is rewriting the broken food and nutrition guidelines of the United States. No longer are we going to have a broken food pyramid and a continuation.
Yo, friend, the food pyramid they stopped using the food pyramid like when I was in fucking junior high or something.
Of a 70-year demonization of natural saturated fat.
Here we go. That's Trump's FDA chief, Dr. Marty Makary, on the breaking news today. Dozens of U.S. ice cream producers now plan to remove artificial petroleum-based chemical food dyes from their ice cream products by 2028. That's 90% of the ice cream industry in the U.S. Plus, the FDA just approved a new natural plant-based food dye to knock out and replace synthetic chemical blue dyes found in things like sports drinks and candy. Typically, again, these dyes are...
Oh, this is the naturalistic fallacy. It might be possible that they weren't using this other food dye from a plant or whatever because it was bad for you, right? Just because some shit's from a plant doesn't mean it's good for you.
The clothes that you wear. Joining us now, FDA Chief Dr. Marty Makary. Dr. Makary, it's great to see you again. Thanks for joining us. This all feels really shocking that this stuff was not removed before from food. Can you tell us how dangerous this is for America's families and children?
Well, we have a lot of data, Liz, and it may not necessarily be the traditional 50-year randomized control trial follow-up. It's data from families that say...
Oh, it's anecdotes. We have anecdotes. It may not be like controlled, placebo-controlled studies, long-term studies of people's health when they're ingesting this, that, or the other thing. What we did is we talked to Susan. She is a mommy blogger.
That their kids have been acting with bad behavior, with attention deficit disorder, and they eliminate the petroleum-based food dyes and the behavior improves. That is data. Okay, those are data points if we listen to parents. And we also have, by the way, randomized controlled trial data in the Lancet and other medical journals. So what are we waiting for? A trial where we inject half of kids with petroleum products?
Well, we're not injecting. Oh God, we're not injecting. It's like in Doritos. People aren't injecting Doritos into their blood. I hope not. Do not inject Doritos.
And there's been no movement on this until Republican and Democrat and independent moms showed up in high numbers to vote for President Trump over this very issue that Secretary Kennedy has championed. We're not going to stop with petroleum food dyes. We're going to keep going. And just remember, when we first announced this several weeks ago that we're going to make this move to remove all 9 petroleum-based food dyes from the food supply, all sorts of folks out there, naysayers, said we weren't really going to do this. And look at where we are today. Nestle, General Mills, Kraft Heinz, Smuckers, Hershey's, Conagra, Sam's Club, Danone, all these businesses and many more have accepted the pledge and had.
So wait, no. Okay, so this isn't really policy. This is a pledge.
Move away within a couple years. There was no activity on this.
So they're going to do this. They're going to fucking claim that the shit's all natural, and then they're going to raise the price on their products. These are businesses. What does this guy think is going on here? This isn't like fucking, these aren't like Newman's fucking own organic food or what the shit ever. These are like giant fucking food producers. I'm telling you, they're going to remove it, or more likely, they're going to just call it something else, right? Because if it's like, yellow dye number 17, well, there's a chemical compound name for that. So instead of calling it yellow dye number 17, they're just going to refer to it by its chemical compound name. And they're going to be like, look, we got rid of the yellow dye number 17.
Also approving natural alternatives because we believe in alternatives. Typically, the FDA would approve 1 or 2 natural alternatives every 5 or 10 years. We approved 4 in our first 3 months, and we've got at least 2 more that are going to be approved beyond the one we approved today.
I mean, you're getting a lot done in your first 100 days, and
wasn't this supposed to be aren't the Republicans supposed to be the party of leave me alone or whatever? Let me eat fucking gasoline if I want.
For the Trump administration doing all of this. And it's we're hearing mental and physical health problems with children, certainly obesity, chronic diseases. But it looks like you got a long way to go to make the U.S. food supply healthy again, because HHS Secretary RFK Jr. says only about 35% of the U.S. food industry has made commitments to getting rid of these artificial food dyes.
Yeah, it's a good start. So remember, one of the issues with these petroleum-based food dyes is it makes ultra-processed food much more attractive. The vibrant colors in studies mess with the developing mind of a child, and studies have shown that. So look, this is a first step. Removing the petroleum-based dyes is not a silver bullet. We're tackling the bigger issue.
No, not the Skittles. Don't come for the Skittles. I don't eat candy, but don't come for the Skittles.
Percent of the diet of children is ultra-processed. We see now the makers of Skittles that I see on your screen here, they've already said they're going to remove titanium dioxide, another chemical we're looking at. We're going through all the chemicals in the U.S. food supply that are banned in Europe, and we're starting to do...
Oh, most of those are just called something else in Europe. These people are stupid as fuck. Like in Europe, again, I don't know if there's a yellow dye 17, but if there is, right? In Europe, they might very well use it. They just call it by the name of the chemical compound that it is or whatever. They might not call it yellow dye 17. This is dumb as fuck. Also, I'm sorry, they're showing double bubble now. I don't know if anybody's eating double bubble. Well, first of all, don't eat it. It's gum. You're supposed to just chew on it. But that shit is not a health food product.
We're going one at a time, and we're rewriting the food pyramid, which was a broken piece of health misinformation that did a lot of damage in American healthcare.
Yeah, final word. We heard 1,500 of these chemicals are banned in Europe. Is it bigger than that?
It's over 1,000, and it's...
Oh, but they're not banned. They're called something. They're called by their chemical name, dude. That's all. They're called by some other name. Almost. I forget what the number. I think. Because they say over 1,000, but like almost half of them are just called something else over there.
I don't know if people really know, because what happens is the companies can self-declare a chemical as generally recognized as safe, or so-called GRAS. And that GRAS standard is broken. We've announced we're trying to change that. And so we're going to go one step at a time. And at the same time, we're going to end the 70-year war on natural saturated fat.
Oh, dude, it's the fucking beef tallow shit. Fuck, they're coming for my avocado and canola oil next, aren't they? Gonna make me fucking burn everything.
Fat is not the devil that the entire healthcare system pointed to. We've got to look at refined carbohydrates as well.
Yeah, the food industry has been self-regulating for decades. Dr. Marty McCary changing that, and congratulations to you and your family on your newborn baby. That's great news. Good to have you on,
Thanks
sir.
so much, Liz.
Now please listen to this.
Somebody in chat had mentioned seed oil, but they'll just talk about tallow. That is like they're talking about, they're telling you not to have seed oil, but seed oils are generally fine for you. And, they're fat, like they're not, better to have less oil in your diet, I suppose. But the reason people use seed oils like avocado seed oil, canola oil, et cetera, is because they have like a high smoke point. And you can fry the shit out of something and not burn it. Like, what the fuck, dude? This is hella dumb. Here we have RFK Jr., and it's patriotic for you to take control of your own health.
What was your first question?
Medicaid and health.
Dr. Oz's comments earlier that Medicaid will be there for Americans when they need it, but Americans should also do their part to eat healthy, especially if they're getting Medicaid health services. Do you agree with that connection? And where does ice cream fall into that, especially with today's
I don't
announcement?
think Dr. Oz ever intended to say that Medicaid health services should only be available to people who eat well. That's not. Medicaid is available to people who qualify for Medicaid, and it will continue to be so. President Trump has committed to preserving Medicaid for all those Americans who qualify for it, as well as Medicare. But, you look at the landscapes, we have the highest health care costs of any country in the world, and we have the sickest population.
That's because there's hands in the cookie jar all the way up and down the system.
And one of the reasons for that is the food that we're eating. And we know that many diabetes cases more than half can lose their diagnosis simply by changing their diet. And so this administration wants to encourage Americans to take control of their own health, to eat right, to have lifestyle changes that save us all. And that's the patriotic thing to do, not only for our country, but for for every individual American. It's a patriotic duty to keep ourselves healthy.
Do you remember when these people all freaked out because fucking Michelle Obama was trying to do like an unofficial program to provide fruits and vegetables and like higher quality foods and like school lunches? Does anybody remember this? They all freaked out. They're trying to control what your kids are gonna eat. As if the government isn't in control of school lunches anyway. I mean, this was like absolutely fucking, they like lost their goddamn minds about it. But it was just like, homegirl was like, could we get some, get like an orange? Can we get rid of whatever that stuff is that they're calling pizza? They lost their goddamn minds about it. Up next, this is disaster relief, MAGA style.
And those local officials, should we come in and support them. What you saw happen in Texas was much more how FEMA will look in the future. It won't look like the response to Katrina or the response to even Helene and what happened in North Carolina, where people waited weeks and weeks and months for help or for people to show up, or help was promised and it never came. You look at claims from Katrina, some of them still haven't been paid today.
Well, Katrina was a mess, sure, but the thing in like, it wasn't just North Carolina, like that's in the Appalachians and stuff. That's tough territory. And if like roads are washed out and stuff, it's hard for like relief workers to get there. we call these things disasters for a reason. Up next, we're going to talk about whether or not California should get some disaster relief because the fucking Palisades and other areas in the hills near Los Angeles caught fire.
Mr. Speaker, your office has told me the holdup on Congress taking up disaster aid for California is that you're waiting for the White House to send an official request. The president has indicated no interest in doing so, in part because of his tiff beef with Gavin Newsom, whatever you want to call it. Will you commit to including California in any disaster aid package passed out of the House, whether it be Texas, the Carolinas, regardless of the president's feelings about California?
Well, first of all, we wouldn't know how much to commit because there's a process that this goes through. The White House and every administration and every previous Congress, the White House takes the request of the state after the calculations have been done, the assessments. There's a multi-step process to this. They take that, they send the request to Congress, and then Congress it goes through regular order and acts upon the request. We just haven't had that in California yet for whatever reason. Gavin Newsom seems to enjoy trying to stick his thumb in the eye of the White House and the Congress, which seems to be counter-purpose if he is requesting relief. Look, we're going to do the right thing at the end of the day. We'll take care of the American people. We'll take care of our federal responsibilities. But we've not seen the calculation nor the formal request yet, and I'm going to act upon it until we do.
The formal request was sent to your office in February.
I would get the request from the White House and the executive branch. That's how this works. We're going to follow the rules.
Mr. Speaker,
So this is like not true. The request for aid, like generally the way this works is something happens and the president does a press conference and says, you know, this person's from the other party and we've had our differences over the years, blah, 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 blah. But we're going to go ahead and give this, the state whatever they need to recover from this disaster. And I call on Congress to approve, you know, X, Y, and Z amount of relief. And we'll come back later and approve more if necessary. This is just what the fucking president does. It was fucking Donald Trump did that shit during his first fucking administration. I forget which disaster was it. Was that hurricane in New York City that fucking took out power and shit. I don't remember. But then Joe Biden did that shit. Barack Obama did that shit. Like fucking George W. Bush did that. He fucked that shit up, but he tried. I mean, I don't know who fucked that shit up for Katrina. But I at least gave lip service to the idea that they were going to provide disaster relief and whatever. And now they're like, well, we don't know. They haven't filled out fucking Form 17C and all this bullshit. All right. So this is funny. We don't actually have a palate cleanser this week because I had a palate cleanser. And then when I went to arrange the docket, it had been removed. Probably copyright. There was probably like copyrighted music or something. But here's one way to alert the community that ICE is in the neighborhood.
Aquí anda la puta migra en el Dodge Durango con las placas de Oregon. That's your local ICE agent in that Dodge Durango with the Oregon license plate. Aquí anda la puta migra en el Dodge Durango con las placas de Oregon. Solo el pueblo salva al pueblo. There's your local ICE agent in that Dodge Durango with the Oregon license plate. Aquí anda la puta migra en el Dodge Durango con las placas de Oregon.
Shout out to the escort they're getting too. This is like, this stuff is kind of great, like seeing communities come together. I tried to figure out where that was. They were saying the Oregon license plate, so I'm assuming that's California, but I couldn't quite fucking tell where that was. Looks a little bit like where I used to live, Campbell, but I couldn't imagine like that they would, I don't think that ICE would be there. Anyway, now we're on to, did you know that ICE agents actually they're starting to have low morale? Like actual ICE agents, not these contractor people, but rather the people who've been working at ICE for a long time. You know, these aren't the greatest people in the world, I'm sure, but they're not the contracted Gestapo either.
Trump loves to praise ICE in public, but behind closed doors, it's a different story. New reporting from The Atlantic sheds light on how ICE officials are reacting privately, especially to the unrealistic demands from Trump's top immigration advisor, Stephen Miller. This spring, Miller, joined by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, called ICE's top leaders to Washington and berated them in a tense meeting over low arrest numbers. According to one account, veteran officials murmured and shifted in their seats, but Miller steamrolled anyone who spoke up. And the pressure is taking a toll. In the words of one ICE agent, morale is in the crapper. Even those that are gung-ho about the mission aren't happy with how they are asking to execute it. Another longtime officer complained that Miller's fixation on daily arrest numbers is forcing serious agents to abandon serious criminal cases. No drug cases, no human trafficking, no child exploitation. It's infuriating, he said. A longtime ICE employee is thinking about quitting rather than having to continue, quote, arresting gardeners.
Then quit. Don't let Stephen Miller berate you. What is some punk ass shit getting berated by Stephen Miller? I'm not a tough guy or whatever, but if Stephen Miller started berating me, I'd take off my fucking shoe and throw it at him. Like, fuck that. Stephen Miller, get out of here. Nobody, well, maybe the ICE agents, let them fight, I suppose. Here's the president talking about how many of the Democrats are evil people. I agree. I mean, there's fucking evil crosses political party. I'm not gonna dispute that fact, but this is like setting the stage essentially, probably for using organization like ICE or the contracted freaks in their like little fake police outfits to like go after his political enemies.
The whole world. That's what happened in 1929. I said, so you're going to vote for the other side? Well, sure, I'll do what's really appropriate. You know, the losers. But you have that. Really, they're grandstanders. You know, you have grandstanders, and you have them in every business. And the Democrat has far fewer. They're grandstanders. But, you know, the one thing about them, they have bad policy. They're evil people in many ways, but they stick together. You don't have it where you don't have, I don't want to use too many names, but you don't have a Mitt Romney in the midst who makes you suffer. You don't have some of the people that I mentioned who make it so hard. They make it so hard. And the alternative is one of two things. You can either get all these things and make the economy strong, or you're going to literally have perhaps a depression where you people so rich, so beautiful, so nice to look at will be totally busted. And let's see how long your wife stays with you. You're beautiful.
What the fuck? Oh, your wife doesn't love you. She just loves your money. I mean, that might be true about that person. Those Republicans, Donald Trump does a good job at dunking on Republicans.
She'll stay with you for about 3 weeks and she'll say, darling, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore, darling. I'm leaving you.
Oh, man. I wish this guy would have just like not become the president and just dunked on Republicans like forever. Up next is a Donald Trump education expert. He would know. Oh man, for a while there was rumors that Melania was gonna like leave him actually, and that would have been some shit. The meltdown that he would have had, or maybe he wouldn't have cared. He'd have been like, "Well, Ivanka's still here." Here we go. Donald Trump, education expert.
Department of Education. We want, as you know, we want to bring education back to the states, take the federal government out of it. A little tiny bit of supervision, but very little, almost nothing. Like to make sure they speak English. That's about all we need. Mr. President,
oh, that's what education does. Make sure you speak English. Most children, most of them, by the time they enter kindergarten, or they don't speak English like an adult, but they can speak English. Most of them. And if they don't speak English, that's fine too, because actually we don't have a national language. People speak whatever fucking language they want here. For now. Apparently, I don't know who the fuck Rand Paul Jr. is. But Trump, I guess, did him a personal favor. I don't know. Here's the president.
With us, we only had 2 negative votes. I didn't invite those 2 guys to anything. We had a guy named Rand Paul Jr. He's known as Rand Paul Jr. in the House. He always votes no.
Well, no. No, that's just Rand Paul. I think he's thinking that his dad was Rand Paul Sr., but that's Ron Paul.
And we had somebody else. I did him a big favor, and I said, well, he's not going to, sir, I don't think so-and-so is going to vote. I won't mention his name. And I said, no, he's going to vote because I did him a very big favor, very personal favor, as big as you can get, having to do with death and life. But having to do, no.
You threaten to kill him? Don't worry about it. Then you threaten to kill him and then not kill him?
Okay, sir, if you tell me, but I don't think we're going to get his vote. Don't worry about it, I said. I know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. And sure as hell he voted against us. And I said another one down, another great move by Trump. Anyway, so much for favors. You know, it's welcome to the world of politics, right? Right, David? We know about that.
All right. Well, that's fucking interesting. All right. Well, it's the president. Now we're getting to the home stretch of the regular docket here. We're going to move on to red light pretty soon, but I got a couple more. One is we just keep playing these every week. Some fucking New York City motherfucker goes on to Fox News and bitches about the subway.
So even if you want to drive your car, a lot of people can't afford it. So they force those people into the subway, and the subway's not safe. And again, if you're a liberal and you want people to ride the subway, make it safe for people. Make it clean. Take the crazy people out. You shouldn't be groped or assaulted or lit on fire if you ride the train. And again, this is just good government, Laura. I mean, that is the role of a politician. And again, even Democrats in New York, you know the city, even Democrats are applauding us for fighting back against their politicians who won't protect them and keep them safe.
Yeah.
You ask the average New Yorker, they fucking love the subway. The average New Yorker, even middle class, upper middle class, even rich folks, they fucking love the New York subway. As well they should. But they love lying about crime statistics in big cities. This is the same guy, I believe the same interview. New York City right now is experiencing historically low violent crime rates, as are a lot of major cities after, like during COVID and afterward, there was a little bit of a bounce up of the crime rate, and then it went right back down. So in many cases to below pre-pandemic levels, violent crime did. And but that doesn't mean that these people won't tell you that the crime is out of control, because they have to tell you that. Because, like, what else are they going to tell you? They ain't got shit else.
Didn't agree with your premise. He got very indignant. Is there any positive news coming out of New York vis-a-vis their crime rate?
Yeah, it's at historic lows. Violent crime is at historic lows in New York City, along with other cities. San Francisco's violent crime rate plummeted recently. Los Angeles is at very low violent crime rate. Chicago is known for having a lot of gun violence. That's down. Like, it's all down. Why aren't these people just taking credit for it? Because Trump's the president, right? Why don't they just fucking go the other way and take credit for it? What a bunch of dumb fucks.
So a bit unconventional to have me come in and call me a liar when actually the stats don't lie, that crime actually has gone up in New York City. And Laura, you would think that if you're a congressman or if you're a city councilman, you actually want to keep your people safe. Like, that is your job. Keep people safe, even though Jerry may drive around in with a chauffeured car. The people who ride the subway actually want to be able to not get pushed in front of a train or lit on fire. And so, again, I don't know why the politicians of New York don't want to fight for their constituents. Again, I think it's an elitist ideology. But no, I don't think things are going well in New York City. And again, Jerry Nadler is a guy who was one of the biggest proponents of defunding the police. You can't protect people on trains unless you get law enforcement down in the subways to actually make sure the criminals get removed.
So when I've seen conflict on public transit, which, you know, I've taken public transit all the time. I've taken it in San Jose, here in Oakland. I took it in Fremont, California. And when I've seen like conflict happen on public transit, it's generally not the cops that de-escalated. It's the other passengers. Shout out to those folks out there who intervene and help people when there's conflict or potential violence on the train and the bus and whatnot. Up next, look at the Somali gangs. I mean, candidates for office in Minneapolis. Just look at them. Somali gang candidate for office. Who knows the difference?
There's a reality that doesn't get a lot of attention in Minneapolis, from Jacob Fry to where you are now in that city. Somali gangs that roam the streets, that take on the businesses there, that graft from them, that rob them. Failure by Ilhan Omar, who's down there in D.C. with you, and now they're going to turn this over to someone who's going to push out anybody and leave it to the gangs. This is reality in Minneapolis.
Well, I got to tell you,
I don't know, man. All things considered, the history of the Minneapolis police, if I wanted to stay safe in a bad neighborhood there, I might make friends with the local gangbangers.
You brought up something that's incredibly important, and I'm glad that you're talking about it. Unfortunately, the failing press in Minnesota, especially in the Twin Cities, is not. These Somali gangs are incredibly dangerous. We had an attack at a high school basketball game last spring where a Somali gang came in and started beating a kid on the bench with a tire iron. We had a shooting at the University of Minnesota during a graduation ceremony this spring that was Somali gang related, and yet no one in the Minnesota media is reporting that that's what's going on. We've got Somali gangs that are causing these problems. Good news is I visited with our FBI last week, and they're taking action, but it's been a long time coming.
So this is great. He's like he's just basically saying that any violence that includes like the immigrant population probably in Minneapolis is a Somali gang related. But I mean, people, like, this is America. People be shooting each other. It's not great. I don't like it. But like at a high school, yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's violence at high schools. Tire iron. Does he mean a crowbar? I don't know. Fucking who cares? Violence bad, but like blaming it all on fucking Somali gangs is stupid. And even the local pigs are probably not doing that, because if they were, we'd be hearing about it. So I don't know what to say here. I just know that they hate Minneapolis because there's a lot of Somalis there, I suppose. Wonder what they think of the town I lived in, Fremont. There's a lot of Afghanis there. Uh-oh. Maybe I shouldn't be telling them that. Good thing nobody listens to my show. He's also going to talk about, I guess, Tampon Tim.
Are you here to apologize for the people in your state? I mean, it is run by a governor nicknamed Tampon Tim for putting tampon machines in the boys' bathrooms. So
like, if you're like, I don't know, man, if you're going to go to the bathroom and your homegirl, it's like, could you grab me a tampon? Just grab homegirl a tampon. There's also trans men who might need a tampon, but that's probably not that. It's probably just like, let's put it in all the bathrooms. Fuck it. That's probably what it was. Just put it in all the bathrooms. That way, if I have to go to the bathroom, maybe there's a line for the fucking girl's bathroom or whatever, and I have to go to the bathroom anyway, I can go grab homegirl a tampon. Everything's fine, baby. Tampons for everyone.
I don't understand. Well, I understand the attraction of somebody like Mondani, because he is just a better grifter and a better con artist or charlatan than the current crop of Democrats that you have down in D.C.
Well, great to be with you, Dagan, David. I will tell you, there's a reason why they call it the mini apple. Just like the citizens of New York City, the citizens of Minneapolis.
Oh, the people in New York are probably not too happy about being like, excuse the shit out of you, ain't nothing like New York City.
Have a choice to make. Do you want communist chaos, or do you want a safe, secure, prosperous community?
How they are. Look at what, like, not only is that just the nicest guy in the world, he's like a good looking guy, he's got a great smile, he just looks like a nice guy that you'd want to talk to at like a dinner party, right? He just looks approachable. They fucking hate this guy. They hate this guy because he's just everything that they can never be.
The failed leadership in Minnesota, and I appreciate when you talk about, I'm here to apologize for my state. It's a very small part of our state. I mean,
just the part where everyone lives.
Got some great people all across Minnesota. The unfortunate part is because of the failed leadership of Tim Walz. I mean, this guy is a terrible executive. He took an $18 billion surplus, Dagan, just a couple years ago, and now he's turned it into a huge deficit.
Did COVID happen during that time? I think COVID happened during that time.
all the stories about him. He's literally lied about everything.
And they are so pissed off. And they didn't mention homeboy's name. I don't. It's Tom Emmer. No, the homeboy who's I guess running for mayor in Minneapolis or whatever. He looks like a nice guy too. Like he was on people's shoulders dancing and shit, raising the roof. I mean, get out of here. This is fucking. That shit's cool. You can fucking miss me with this bullshit. Trying to like demonize they're running for office, trying to make their city better. Like you want to go after a mayor or a mayor candidate, why don't you go after Matt Mahan of San Jose? He's a Democrat. He's the elite. He's tech money. They don't want to go after him though, because he's rounding up the homeless. More on that on Down Ballot, though. We're off this week. Speaking of this week, that's the end of the podcast part of the show. I thought it was going to go quicker, but still under 2 hours is a fucking amazing feat considering the news cycle the last few weeks. It was a little bit slower this week in some ways. So if you're listening to the whole podcast and you got to the end here, I congratulate you. You should come join us live some night though, because the show isn't really over right now. I mean, the podcast part of the show is over because I can't put out like a 5-hour podcast where by the end of the show, I'm like drunkenly pointing my finger at the camera and yelling at fucking Brett Weinstein or whatever. Who the fuck is going to listen to that on Spotify? So check us out live. We're live 5-6 nights a week. Twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. If you don't want to go through all that shit and you don't want to meet the wonderful people in the chat here, that's fine. You can get the whole show of this. You can get early releases of Used to Be a Spy, and you can get the entire show of the nights we do Down Ballot by subscribing at $5 or more at patreon.com/Echoplex, or even better via Fourth Wall at eplex.store. If you do the second one, you get some discounts automatically applied to our merch as long as you're logged in when you purchase the merch. So all that being said, if you're hanging out, if you're here live, just hang out a minute. Don't go anywhere. We're going to rock the Periscope by Boomers. I'm going to change the color of the lights in the room, and I'm going to pour myself a drink. And I got some weird shit for fucking red light, including, I think, Eric Weinstein complaining that he's not in the Epstein files. See everybody on the other side here.